Yeah.
That's just our intro now. We just go, "Ah." Well, just like Rhinox is too tired to even bring himself to say anything.
I like the fact that with us, like at this point, like you know what's coming when we're like, well,
Probably some pretty bad opinion.
probably something like somewhat offensive and like,
Usually conservative.
yeah, yep.
Well, there weren't trans people when I was growing up, but yeah.
All we had were the trans medals, and gosh dang it, that was damn good enough for me. Yeah.
Too much Energon.
Too much Energon, like this podcast.
The beasts are here, McLeod, for the gathering.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings, Megatron. Then they'd better stay out of my way. Blah, 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 blah. Beast Wars once and for all.
Big time Gary himself.
Man, these things look like toys.
Maximal! Maxima! Does that mean transform?
Cheetor, what have you done?
I am transformed.
Sigma
balls, Gary.
Oh no! Not that! Ah!
Welcome, Maxipals and Predheads, to episode 125 of Too Much Energon, your favorite Transformers podcast, where we two dudes talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars. Yeah, true. I'm one of your hosts, NeoCal, and I am joined by the Transmetal, Christopher Siege.
Yes, with my blonde, my newfound blonde deco itself.
Yeah, I don't have a Transmetal upgrade because I was in the CR chamber at the time, like good old Rhinox.
Yeah, I got hit by that sweet quantum surge and emerged with a Transmetal 2 blonde hairstyle.
Well, at least you weren't knocked into lava and then like never fucking remembered ever again.
Never even mentioned too.
Never even mentioned.
They done they done our boys Pterosaur and Scorponok dirty.
And they do that again in this episode of TME, where we're reviewing 2022's well, it came out in 2022.
2021.
2021's Beast Wars by IDW Comics.
Yep, we're reviewing issue 16, sadly.
Yeah. And issue 16 of 17. So we covered the annual last episode. Yep. And they do my boy Pterosaur and Scorponok pretty fucking dirty in this one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little frank here and
no.
And just say that I regret ever like convincing you to review these comics.
We've never said that about anything. And keep in mind, we reviewed comics before that weren't great, but whatever. But this is it. 125 episodes in to TME. I regret asking you to review these comics. But here's the thing. When we started this, everything was in like old news. Like everything we'd be reviewing would be already out.
Right.
And so this was new. Like this is Wave and like Rise of the Beasts is out. And like this was coming out while we were doing TME. And it's like, holy shit. It's like a new wave. We didn't know it was going to be like depressive. If it was forgettable, it'd be one thing. But apparently it's so bad, Christopher Siege regrets ever asking me to review them.
This comic is frustratingly terrible. Like
the run, like from beginning to end.
There've been some bright moments where it's been like, okay, you know, I didn't hate it, or like it's okay, you know.
I liked it when Cheetor said this one thing.
Yeah, but this Jesus fucking Christ, like this comic, holy shit. It's getting worse as it goes. And that's like, that is shocking.
Oh,
to
you
me.
think this is worse than the? Oh, so you really didn't like this one? I have some. Oh man, I don't know. I'm like emotionally fucking connected from my body, like covering this. I liked
So-
a lot of parts about this, but
So
anyways,
here's what happens. Some bullshit, and it sucks. Anyway, that was episode 125 of Too Much Sean.
support us on Patreon.
Best way to support the show is to go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Oh,
Okay, so last time the Vox showed up to fuck shit up. Kind of failed and kind of sucked.
yeah, they challenged Captain Ron and Galavar to a steel cage match at Double or Nothing.
Right, and Captain Ron was like, Megatron, I figured out how to get through these energy barriers. I'm using my alt mode. And Megatron was like, ooh, huh? Which one?
Which alt mode?
And then he transforms into, who knows, one of his alt modes. If only there was a phrase to identify which alt mode he changed into, but you'll have to guess, listeners. And I don't know, they kind of fight the Vok, but not really. And the Vok were like, I was only pretending to try. See, we could kill you just with thinking. And Megatron's like, oh, my head. Okay. And I'm like, when did you become such a bitch, dude? You're like talking shit like 30 seconds ago. But I don't know. They like gave him a really bad migraine and now he's afraid of them.
Megatron's like, not Mega. I refuse to refer to this character as Megatron anymore. He's just Galavar.
That's true. This whole thing started as our comic reviews started as too much Galavar. And you know what?
There is too much Galavar.
There's too much fucking Galavar. There's too much Galavarting. No gallivanting and too much Galavarting.
Galafarting. Am I right?
So what happens is they're like 7 cycles. And there's a lot of like, you know, that trope where it splits down the middle, and on the left side there's the villain, and on the right side is the hero, but they're like saying the same things.
Much like the VHS cover to the 1995 film Face Off.
I was like, I'm not going to mention Face Off. I've mentioned it like 5 times on TME. I'm not going to do it.
I've actually never seen it.
I can't remember. I just know that my grandma really liked it, and I've seen it like 5 times, and that there's guns and Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. What more do you want from a 90s movie?
I mean, that sounds pretty great. Just put Nicolas Cage in anything, and generally I'm there.
Yeah. Put Nicolas Cage in a movie, and well, there we go. Oh, I just watched Mandy. It's so much better than
Mandy's pretty good.
I really liked it.
I also recommend, it came out not too long after Mandy, but The Color Out of Space.
I watched that fairly after it had come out fairly quickly. And I was
you get every version of Nicolas Cage in that movie. Like you get
the necessity.
You get
out of the cosmic horror. Yeah.
You get the version of Nicolas Cage where it's like, okay, I see how he won an Oscar. So like the very serious dramatic actor, but you also get the like crazy like Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, like close up on the screen, like going crazy, like ha 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 ha.
Yeah, but other than that though, like I just found it really lacking. Much like, well, not lacking in that I hated it, right? But this issue. So what happens is, for some reason,
I felt like when I was watching Mandy, I felt like I was going through like meth psychosis or something. That movie is such a trip.
Maybe you haven't seen Mandy, and you thought you watched Mandy, and you actually. It was something. I really liked the setup to everything. I didn't realize there was a lot of heart and character building in the first half of the movie, and then the second half is what I thought the whole movie would have been. Just absolutely art house bullshit, like Evil Dead, kind of like batshit kind of like rampage.
Yeah, like weird, like acid trip type
Like
scenes.
fighting demons / drug addicts.
Yeah.
You decide. um
Listeners, we're talking about anything but this comic book, and
Okay,
this
okay.
has been a growing trend on Too Much Energon. But like, we're talking
Yeah.
about anything but this comic book because this comic book is so fucking uninteresting that like literally talking about literally anything else is better.
Folks, they literally call, and by they I mean the writer, who shall remain nameless.
Energy monsters.
Oh, so you knew exactly what I was gonna fucking say. Repeatedly, the technical term for the Vok preparing to invade and wipe out, but because the Vok are good sportsmen, they decided to give them 7 cycles. They use beta cycles, beta nanos, nano. They use a new time measurement that I haven't seen, and I'm like, oh, beta clicks.
Yet another person who was paid to write Beast Wars shit, who has no fucking idea how long a cycle
Beta
actually
clicks, because they use clicks, right?
Right.
Anyways, Dinobot and Rhinox are sent to, and the leaders, Galavar and Big Time Ronnie.
Captain Ron.
Captain Ron, sorry, not Big Time Ron.
And they call him Captain repeatedly. Even Rat Trap refers to him as Captain several times in this issue in particular. It's like, what the fuck?
I'm over that. I'm over just him, the writer having no concept of the characters and whether that's good or bad. Yeah.
Right.
But basically,
it's probably best for your sanity, honestly.
For my sanity, yeah.
Because me, I'm like.
Listeners, you're seeing 2 different types of people. There's one person who's like aggressively like going insane because of how bad this is, and then like the other person who's like dissociating with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like you're either gonna be like laughing. There's 2 types, right? Like you're going full you're going full Nick Cage. You're reading these last couple, right? And I'm going like John Travolta. But I wanted something better. I'm going Nicolas Cage and leaving Las Vegas. You're going Nicolas Cage in
Ghost Rider Spirit
Ghost Rider. Like I'm just gonna die. And how I deal with that is one thing. But Christopher's just like getting ready to light his head on fire and kill some people.
I actually, that first Ghost Rider movie is kind of trash, but I actually really like that second one just because Nicolas Cage is just completely unhinged.
Yeah, and almost feels like he just wrote it. Yeah. Like they were just like, here you go, man.
Well, and I think it was from the directors of Crank.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Just the second one?
Yeah, just the second one. The first one,
I can't remember the first one. They tried to make a movie out of it, but that's not what Ghost Rider with Nick Cage should be. Whereas number 2 was just like a ride.
I think I remember reading on, I think it was Collider.com years ago, where they described Ghost Rider as more of a, something more of a cool tattoo rather than a character.
Ghost Rider's more of a cool tattoo than he is
an actual character. Yeah. Which I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks cool. There's not much else to him, though.
Yeah. I mean, he has the penance stare where, like, depending on how bad of a sinner like you are, you like become a vegetable.
Right.
Didn't he penance stare Thanos? And like Thanos is like, I have no regrets. Fuck you. And it didn't like work on him. I don't know. Anyways, we're not talking about those comics. We're talking about this one, people. And issue 16, this is what happens. Okay. So everybody's friends because they're so afraid of the Vok. And it cuts back and forth to this montage of the Maximals being like, I work with the Predacons. Oh, the only good Predacon is one that's already switched sides, I suppose.
Oh, Captain, my
Um,
Captain, why must we work with them?
Captain, my captain, why must we work with the enemy? And then Megatron is like, you're going to accept them with open arms, give a friendly Predacon blowjob to each of them, and play nice, damn it.
And keep an eye out if there's some way that we can take advantage of them in the future. Cheers.
Now get to it. And the ones they send over to the dark side are Rhinox and Dinobot for some reason. And the ones they send over to the Axelon are Cheetor, are Black Arachnia, and Scold. And I'm like,
Right.
but why? And I guess they wanted to send Tarantulas over, but he's just way too untrustworthy. He's like a tech genius, so he'd find a way to hack into them or whatever, and they weren't going to let that happen. And
Well,
I'm like,
we also-
but so is Black Arachnia.
We also find out in this issue, too, that Tarantulas is working with the Vok. He's like,
When did they approach him? Unlimited. Yeah. And it was like, they promised me such, what, money? Energon? Like, what did they promise you that you could use on this planet?
1 million Predabucks.
1 million Deceptibucks.
Oh, wait, those aren't legal tender anymore.
Oh, right. And
This is basically Confederate scripts at this point on Cybertron.
yeah, right. And we find out Waspinator. This part I liked. Waspinator, they're like, why is he here? And he's like, Waspinator has 2 master's degrees in astro engineering.
Yeah.
And it's like, but isn't he a moron? Like, okay, like,
Oh,
if
and-
you say so.
The Maximals have a functioning spacecraft, apparently.
Oh, the shuttle. For some, we've seen this before when they went over to the dark side like 10 issues ago.
Oh, okay.
They have a little shuttle. It can make short trips to and like from places, but it needs to go back to recharge, and it can reach the dark side, and they've done it once. But shows how we cover the fucking show, and Siege doesn't even remember. He's like, they have a spacecraft? No, it's just
Yeah, I was confused by this. I'm like, what the fuck? They have like a functioning like flying ship?
yeah.
Why don't they just leave then?
So Rhinox teams up with in the Axelon core with Scorponok. And I kind of like that buddy because Scorponok in this version, the only character concept that I think is improved upon is Scorponok, who is loyal to the cause, the Predacon, like
It's-
sorry, the
To Galavar's like ideals.
ideology, yeah. And he's an actual scientist in this, and a coach at times. Again, there's a few golden nuggets, and one of them is Coach Scorponok, which isn't talked about. It's just something the artist did. And they figure out, hey,
I have doubts that like the whole like coach hat that he was wearing was even in the script.
oh, absolutely not.
That
No. That's just
that-
some fun the artists had for sure.
enemy of the show, Eric Burnham.
Oh, we
Gross.
said he would. Yeah. Because man, and Scorponok he gets along with Rhinox, and it's like, well, Rhinox is like, well, you have a functioning transwarp drive, which we don't have. I thought about sending data packets, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna hack this thing to send emails. I dig it, right?
Yeah.
And Scorponok's like, okay, well, if you can figure out how to do that, then like be my guest. And he's like, oh, I can't really do that because there's, somebody put the parental locks on it. And Scorponok's like, what? There's no passcodes. What are you talking about? Oh, what the fuck? There are. This is like locked down by Megatron. Why'd he do this? Okay, well, I'm just
This is
gonna start
locked.
hacking it.
This is locked to Megatron's Face ID for some reason.
Face ID. Well, it's nothing that 90s hacker Scorponok can't do. And he's like, I'm in. And indeed, one panel later, again, there's some okay things about the issue. Again, we really liven things up right? Like if things are always better than they actually are whenever we're reviewing things.
Right.
And that's it. He doesn't say I'm in. And there's no hacking sequence, folks.
Click, 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 click. Enhance. Click, 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 click,
Enhance.
click.
Yeah.
Enhance.
And I wish there was some chemistry. Like we
I've
see,
hacked the mainframe.
I've hacked the mainframe of the warp drive and realigned the ion thrusters too. And what's the thing they always talk about in Star Trek?
The deflector dish. Rerouted power to the deflector dish.
Rerouted power to the deflector dish to send the data packet. And we covered to again, it's a
pulls
montage.
His shades down. I'm in.
His little visor thing. Yeah. We cut over to Black Arachnia and Cheetor. And for some reason, they're like cleaning weaponry, like rifles or something like that. And I'm like, and they're talking about like, oh, why didn't we do this? And why didn't they do this? And they're bickering back and forth for some reason. I wanted there to be some chemistry, like there, like her to be like flirty or something, but nah. Or for him to be shy. Like because he kind of likes her on the show. They ditched that idea in the TV, in the animated series, but
well, they didn't ditch it. They just never really did anything with it.
They never did anything with it, and then it's not touched on ever again.
Because, like, even in the third season, like, Cheetor, after he became a Transmetal 2, had this weird, like,
Angsty,
teenage crush. Like,
yeah,
angsty teenage crush on Black Arachnia, and was, like, frustrated that she wasn't, like, showing him enough attention.
But the thing is, she was leading him on to get things from him.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
But again, the show didn't really do anything with it.
Do anything with it. Yeah, so it doesn't do anything here, but there's color schemes going on, which I will commemorate the artists for. The background's all red and violet in the dark side core, and Rhinox has purple and green, and Scorponok is like a lavender color, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then in like the Axelon, the lighting is cool and blue.
Right.
And both Cheetor and Black Arachnia have yellow and black like pairings to their design. And I'm like, okay. And then the next one, both Nyx and Scold have like sheet metal or like metallic blue like colors, and they're almost washed out because the background is also like bluish metal.
And
I don't know if there's any symbology there. I thought the color schemes of all the scenes were interesting. And then they do that trope that we fucking love, that we've talked about on our different, like, all of our podcasts, where it's like, oh, of course, you're a genius. What did I say? Right? It's not quite that bad, but like Scold and Nyx, who, by the way, I actually really like them talking to each other, because Nyx is like super like chipper and like, oh yeah, you can do it, you should believe in yourself, and Scold is like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah, that's something that I took notice of. Scold doesn't come across nearly as much of an idiot as she usually does in this issue.
No, I actually liked
which I think is
dialogue.
It's a bad thing because that's inconsistent character
so
writing.
It's like, are they a scientist? I wanted to be an artist and a dancer. So they're like, okay, well, why are we even doing this? And they're like, well, because we're like working on the science thing. But like they're working at the science thing at the dark side. So what's the point of us doing it? And Nyx is like, oh, silly dummy, because it's better to have two teams working on it. And besides, like, come on, think. How would you fight an energy monster? And fucking, I hate that term. And
Same.
Such great, you know, the true enemy of the Predacons and the Maximals, the energy monsters.
And multiple characters say energy monsters multiple times in this issue.
And every time I was like, just call them the Vok. Like, we can't call them that? I don't, whatever. Or the energy monsters that the Vok are creating. Like, I don't, if the Vok are so powerful, why'd they hire Tarantulas too? All of these answers, I'm sure, will be described in the next episode of.
I feel like enemy of the show, Eric Burnham, just gave up at this point. He was just like,
Fucking
whatever.
a paycheck's a paycheck.
He was just whatever. I'm just gonna write like whatever bullshit. No one likes
And
this fucking comic
energy
anyway.
monsters, and Scold's gonna be smart now for some reason, and and everyone's gonna call Primal Captain.
Maybe he because like fucking everyone hates this comic. Like
I can't even remember why. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Maybe he was like just kind of defeated at this point because of
He
how
listens
much
to our.
because of how much people hated this comic.
Obviously, if you're like listen, or maybe not, if you're new, welcome. But the writer of this responded to our first run that we had released on YouTube, of all places.
Yeah.
And they had said, well, actually, there were like some directions that I had to go, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, Cal is so perplexed by my advanced writing.
Sorry,
a little bit.
Sorry you were so perplexed, bro.
Because one of my like slogans was a nice way of saying something is fucking stupid. I used to say, and then some perplexing shit happens.
Yeah.
That's a nice way of me saying that it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So now, because of friend of the show, Eric Burnham, I don't say perplexing shit. I don't pull my punches. I say fucking atrocious writing.
Yeah.
How about that for some perplexing shit? And
oh, we're getting spicy here on Too Much Energon.
We've already we've dug ourselves a grade. Yeah, definitely making connections. Or be surprised, people, in a few years these episodes are going to be deleted. We're going to delete the IDW coverage. There's going to be a gap in TME.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this is the worst fucking comic book I've ever read in my life, and I think
we're entertaining with it, but like it's a bad.
I grew up reading comics.
We love Beast Wars.
I read a shitload of comic books in my life. This is the worst fucking comic book I've ever read.
That's saying a lot, people. And here's the thing, I fucking love this art.
And maybe it's just because I'm so close to the source material, but like, I don't know. Even stripping that away, like the writing is just incompetent in this god-awful.
At least Tarantula's writing sounds like Tarantulas, I guess.
I'm glad it was canceled.
Oh, was it like this was canceled? It wasn't finished? Like it wasn't meant to be?
Yeah, it was
like
canceled.
17?
It was
canceled. So there's no like this doesn't wrap up, or?
Well, it does, but like they found out I think they found out about 6 months or so before this comic ended.
So they had 6 issues to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what ends up happening? Scorponok's like, I cracked the code, boss.
Zombie Pterosaur shows up.
Okay, so Megatron chases after Tarantulas, which he would never do. He'd order everyone else on the ship to chase him. So we get this weird chase scene where Megatron can't keep up to Tarantulas in his spider form. Again, it looks like a skittering spider. So good luck to the artists. But he just like, he's laughing and shit talking Megatron on this way out. And he's like, oh, I'm not as insane as you think. And he's getting away. And somehow, despite the fact he just casually watched Tarantulas get away, from the rafters with a drill rapier, descends Dinobot in a really cool shot with like the sun behind him. Again, artists, hope you were paid well for this, because you were the best thing about this run. And he stabs Tarantulas right through the fucking back. And as we recall, he had like a war wound that they kept going on about as if it was permanently affecting his abilities. Remember, Dinobot got stabbed through the torso?
Right.
And they were like, oh, he'll never be the same again. And I'm like, throw the motherfucker in a CR chamber.
He's a cripple now.
Yeah, but basically acting like he was a crippled war vet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you guys are robots. I don't understand. What? Like we literally
can
see Waspinator,
get blown to pieces, and
and
they
then
just
his head can roll over, and he can be like, Waspinator must pull himself together.
yeah, and then they
And
just
then
throw him in the hot tub heal machine, and
you just like scoop him
everything's
up
good
with
to
like a
go.
broom and in a dustpan and like dump him into the hot tub heal machine, and he's good. Like a mysterious number of cycles later. So from the rafters, Dinobot descends with a baseball bat, beats the shit out of him. Megatron's like, no, he's mine to destroy. And Dinobot's like, or we could torture information from him. And he's like, I suppose so. And then we get a buddy moment from Waspinator, which and Rat Trap, which is actually kind of cool. And he's like, you can't fix this engine. I told you it's kaput. And in the middle of like talking shit to him, and he's eating like some sort of Finkel apricorn. Yeah, I'm making up a fruit name. That's what it's called. Yeah, apple corn. Apple corberry. An apple corberry.
The apple corn
berry
matrices core.
Oh, there we go. The matrix, yeah, apple core matrices core rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
And there's actually something in the background. Oh, that big like suit that Rat Trap piloted like early in the early episodes. Whatever. I'm surprised I even remember that in the early issues. He fixes it.
I don't.
Like I said, there's two types, people. There's the dissociative types, and then there's the fucking Nick Cage and
yeah.
And what does it
fuck
say?
This comic.
It says engines online 34% available thrust capacity, and he's Rat Trap's like 2 degrees in astromechanics, huh? Here, you earned it. And he gives him an apple dunk filberry with a bite out of it. And Waspinator just fucking eats it anyway. It's like, wow, not even worthy of getting him a fresh one, huh?
An apple corn Dunkaroo's filibuster.
Right. Fucking what was that thing we made fun of in the last comic run? The all moist.
Oh, the angle slam, chocolat, and unicorn panda puffs.
Yeah, he gives him a unicorn panda puff. That's what it is. So what did Skold come up with? The either people that have interacted with or the Vok themselves, it's kind of vague, I don't fucking know, leave a very slight trace of transwarp. What do they fucking call it? Energy. Basically, the Vok leave behind unspace energy where they've been.
Right. Fuck, they mentioned unspace a bunch of times in this comic again, too.
Yeah. And so you leave, after you interact with them, you leave...
The energy monsters from unspace.
The energy monsters from unspace. So if they, and I'm calling it here, they end up making weapons. You know how in Star Trek they'll attune phasers certain frequencies to hit certain dimensional like creatures better? They're going to tune their weapons to unspace.
So they're gonna go all Best of Both Worlds part 1 and 2, where they program the phasers to like remodulate frequencies on the fly, so they can keep firing at the Borg.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're going to do, and that way the Borg can't adapt. And yeah. So what there's? Oh right, Pterosaur's a fucking zombie.
Yeah,
a remote control zombie. Who's more powerful than he and bigger than he was when he was alive.
And now he has like wings on his back.
So he used to be the same size as Scorponok, and now he's like 4 times bigger than Scorponok. And he's resistant to energy beams that the characters can shoot. It just bounces off of him when Scorponok tries to shoot him.
Yeah.
So zombie Pterosaur one-shots Dinobot and Megatron, knocking them unconscious offline. And he's like, haha, that all worked according to plan. Oh, but wait, where's Scorponok? Scorponok had the wherewithal to run off and try that data packet, like use the transwarp core to send off a data packet, and he's like, oh, I gotta send it in time. And it looks like he does, and we find out, fuck, like, well, he's giant and he has like claws and like sharp teeth and whatever,
I hate
and
this.
he's dead. And
I'm just throwing it out there. I hate
and
this.
what does
Zombie
he say? He
pterosaur,
says,
fuck off.
I've learned how to master life without even a spark.
Also, wasn't it like fucking 10 issues ago that Pterosaur died? And it's
Well, that's
like
what he's been doing in the background, I guess.
and it's like we're just now like getting to zombie Pterosaur. Like,
I guess wouldn't they give him a feel like what would they what how do they handle their dead? I don't know. But I guess this guy got his corpse and just turned him into it, but like way more powerful than normal because he's immune like completely. Like Rhinox is like haven't done some fisticuffs since my days in high school wrestling. Yeehaw. And he like puts all of his weight and like slugs zombie Pterosaur in the face.
yeah, I just drank 6 Lucky, so I'm
I'm feeling invincible. And does nothing to him. Scorponok's laser does nothing to him, and he just takes over the ship with Tarantulas and gigantic zombie Pterosaur take over the ship. Oh, right. And then they do my boy Scorponok one bad because he's like, instead of just making you offline and handing you over to the Vok, you see, my zombie Tarantulas needs Energon, so he is hungry, and it shows him like eating him off screen as Scorponok's like begging for his life and saying they used to be comrades, please no. And I'm like, how dare you? One, it's very Tarantulas like to like switch sides and all of this stuff, but like the Vok, why would the Vok lower themselves to lying to, tricking, and double, like, because they had a deal, damn it. And the Vok are all about experiments.
We shook hands and everything.
And so I guess cool story. And it ends with he's like, that Scorponok, he managed to send the data packet to the Maximals so they'll know that I turned traitor. Well, it's too late. And then it shows him sending a data packet to Cybertron.
Right.
But I'm like, but the Vok aren't to the Tripredacus Council? To the other Predacons? Like who? I guess we'll find out in the riveting finale to IDW's Beat 2021 Beast Wars.
Oh.
Did we mention this is the penultimate issue?
Yeah, this is the mercifully, this is the penultimate issue of this.
Oh no, it's not merciful until it's done.
Fucking terrible comic book.
I just ran through it just out of posterity. Probably didn't even need to. It sounded like we were done talking about it like fucking 15 minutes ago.
Props to you for like actually like
just going through the beats. I just wanted to go through the beats.
Staying on format and actually like recapping like kind of what happens in the issue.
At least
because,
the main
like,
beats, I wanted to talk about the things I kind of liked and the things
I hated this shit so much that I didn't.
Like you don't even remember it. Yeah. It was painful for you to even retain the memories.
Yeah.
Of what was going on. I like some of the buddy stuff. It's just a shame that we only get like 1 or 2 like fucking pages to like see it. It would have been cool if we saw it like 6 issues ago.
Right.
To build and like Skull to be like, wow, all of you guys aren't psychopaths. You're not mean to me and spit in my cereal. Like and come around to joining doesn't that seem obvious that Skull would have come around to joining the Maximals?
Yeah. And like the comic actually
they're
was like
still loyal.
Kind of teasing that for
because
a while.
Rhinox is like, how's it going, Skull? How they treating you? And Skull is like, I do not want to talk to the hand, business only. And Scorponok's like, okay. But it's like, well, I guess her main bully's dead.
Right.
The Pterosaur is gone, right? I don't know. Anyways.
And he's now a zombie.
I guess. But like a super capable, like extremely overpowered like a zombie. He's made out of metal that deflects weaponry and
Basically,
lasers.
Universal Soldier.
He's yeah.
Oh Christ. Anyway, well that issue is done and over with.
Yeah, here on Too Much Energon, we rate things from TV shows, movies, to comics, to Japanese Beast Wars, to
Even board games.
even board games. Shockingly well designed, fun for the whole family board game. To comics on the Too Much Energon scale. It goes from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. And that scale is bad, okay, good. You may have noticed our not so secret no Energon. Stasis lock amounts of Energon that probably at this point needs to go into our main. Like, so many of these issues of right, so many of these issues have been no fucking Energon, like unanimously.
Yep.
That like that's basically, but that's not usual. It was like one in the first 50 episodes of TME.
Yeah, one or two, I think.
One or two or something like that. And it's like, well, I get it's forcing its way into the main reviews, but that's not just this was bad. That's reserved for things that for media that is like offensively bad, like a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, just something that we outright hate.
Like actually hate. And that being said, Christopher Siege, you just were just submitted to the torture that is reading Beast Wars 16. What do you give it?
Well, I like that you opened with the preface talking about no Energon because I feel like you just knew what was coming with this.
I just knew. Yeah, I saw like you were like it's like there's different phases, right? And you're just like past the angry phase. Yeah. You're just like where you're angry at a friend, and you're like, no, don't fucking talk to me. That's what you were like with this. You like didn't even want to talk about. Whereas I've been really heated about everything in the like the stuff where I'm really angry, like aggressively upset about.
It's called beast mode, asshole.
It's called beast mode, asshole.
Yeah, this is a big old fucking no Energon. I hate this comic.
You hated this.
Wow. I hate this comic in general. Like I can't fucking wait until we're done reviewing this comic and can actually move on to more interesting things. I haven't watched a ton, and we're going to get to the Japanese Beast Wars cartoon pretty soon here. I haven't watched a ton of it, but it's at least more fun than this. Like that,
because this isn't trying to have fun. I don't know what it's trying to have.
I don't know what it's trying to have, but whatever it's trying to do, it's failing, and it's just pissing me off. I hate this goddamn comic.
I won't have what he's having. I don't know if it's kind of like, you know, it's that feeling when you're like over an ex or something like that, but like I didn't aggressively hate this one, so it gets a not enough Energon for me.
Oh.
Because it had like seeds of things that I liked, and it moved a lot of plot, but like it's that too little too late. Like this might have gotten a sufficient amount of Energon if this was like issue 6. Like things are happening, like people fucking die in this, right? Like even though I don't like it and it's different, I can go, you know what? Like let's see where this goes, right? Like they killed Scorponok, like Pterosaur is like a zombie. Like okay, let's see what happens. Like that now people are like they're teaming up, right?
But energy monsters from unspace.
and it's almost like, I wonder if it's that grading on a scale thing, where if this was like 10 issues ago, I'd be like fucking angry and give it like no Energon. But like the energy monsters from unspace, I'm just like, yeah, okay. Yeah, or we're calling Vok energy monsters, you know, to be technical.
Right.
Yeah. Robots in disguise fighting energy monsters is where we're at. With and sorry, robotic life forms in alt mode fighting energy monsters.
There we go. That's the
The
Dollarama version of Beast Wars.
the Dollarama, but like the multi-pack, where like one of them is like Cheetah Bot and there's like a Vox head, right? Like you get like a different Vox, but the Vox heads are just different colors.
Yeah.
You get like Scorpion, what would Mecha Scorpion and like a blue Vok. And you get like Cheetah Bot with like an orange Vok, but the Vok are just the same. They just have a different colored visor.
And like the Vok are made of this like really shitty like felt fabric.
Oh, there you go. Not even plastic. Yeah. The felt fabric. Yeah. And what were they called? Said animal changing life forms and energy and villain energy monster. And villainous energy monster.
Featuring the timeless battle between the ultimates versus the ultimates versus the predators.
The ultimates versus the predators. There we go. The ultimates are the good guys and the predators are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You've had a very you've had a energy monster presented episode of Too Much Energon.
Energy monsters from Unspace versus the ultimates and the predators.
And that being said, despite our ratings for this, you can get us rating more things, including perhaps even name brand episodes of TME by supporting us on Patreon.
Right. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/lasercomb, spelled LAZORCOMB. We're at the single $5 Gary tier. You get access to all kinds of cool things, including a Patreon exclusive podcast called the Super Lasercomb Patreon Super Show, commentary tracks, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Follow me on Twitter. I am at Lasercomb, spelled the same way, or you could follow the show proper at Too Much Energon. Cal, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and TikTok at NeoCal, NEO_KAL. I think it's all one word on TikTok. Whatever. How many of us can there be? Just enough where I can't get my Xbox handle. You can also follow me working alongside some friends of the show, Dork Tales, on Wednesday evenings on Twitch on Dork Tales.
Yeah, friends of the show, like Kelly, who's been on a couple of episodes of this podcast, and Krista, my former partner, who she hasn't been on this show, but she's been on other shows that we've done.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come and see me be an elf and be merry.
Be merry.
Cast fireballs. Yeah, we play D&D.
Yeah.
I always forget the most important thing.
Is that the most important thing, though? Especially when you're having fun.
The important thing is that I'm shooting eye lasers and angry at comic books. That's
Speaking of important things, I wanted to read a YouTube comment that we got recently from from @Yoshmaster. I almost forgot, but I remembered at the 0 hour, just in time. He says, "I've been listening to the podcast every night while waiting in my kid's room in the rocking chair for her to fall asleep in my arms for the last month." That's this. I think this is actually like the sweetest like comment we've ever received. And yeah, he says, and you said in the Code of Hero podcast that you would try making video versions of the episodes, so I jumped on YouTube to finally have a look at your faces. As is usual, it's so weird for you to when you hear someone for so long and then you sort of create a face in your mind and then you finally see them. At first, I was like, "That's not at all how I pictured them," but after a few minutes, it's like, "Sure,
Imposters.
those faces do make sense after all." Well, uh, Yosh Master, buckle up because if you watch the video versions of all of our various shows over the past few years, my appearance changes drastically, multiple times.
My hair just keeps getting longer. Otherwise, it doesn't change.
He says he continues, I'll keep listening to the audio podcast since the point is to have something to listen to in the dark that won't make my daughter stay awake for hours. And indeed, like the audio format of these shows is like kind of the bread and butter. That's where we get like most of our downloads and whatnot. The video is just to just for the handful of people who like to actually watch us.
Well, I like that he came on to. Did he comment on the first
the
episode he watched that when he transferred to video? Or
it was the first video. It was the first time we did a video version of this podcast, which was TME episode 32.
Because the others are just
Because prior to that, it was just audio, and like even on YouTube, it was just a static image of the show art with us talking. But since then, we've been doing video.
If Yash, you ever get to this far through and you're listening, thanks for the comment.
Yeah. He says, I'm glad I get to comment to you how much you make me laugh to the point of sometimes waking my daughter up. And how I enjoy reliving the series along you guys, even if you're far more critical than I am. I would give too much Energon to every episode, save one or two. I also gave a 5-star review on YouTube or on iTunes, and you guys deserve way more listeners. Yes, we do.
We do. Damn it. That's right. Thanks for going out of your way, going onto iTunes, reviewing it. Or maybe that's how he listens to it. But you know what? Like, I like comments like that because I can have like 10 comments where people are like, oh, like blah, 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 bullshit haircut, or like, oh, sorry, you're perplexed, loser, or all of these other things. And I'm like, I don't care. Some people are more affected by those than others. And I'm just like,
I just find
sticks and stones.
I lean into it, like with the whole bullshit haircut thing.
It's like, you think my haircut's bullshit now? This isn't even my final form.
Yeah.
But the good ones though, those that makes, because we do this to bounce to entertain each other, right? Like this is like a friend thing, right? So when someone else says that we're like, it's actually funny, it's
rewarding.
Yeah. And rewarding. There we go. Yeah. And
I was saying to a coworker of mine recently too, I was like, it's such a weird concept to actually have fans, which we do.
Yeah. We interact like with them too. And like we have patrons.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, I like you guys enough where I'd like to give you some money so that you can go and like watch Rise of the Beasts in theaters, or you can like buy this board game or pay for your podcasting fees and all those things, right? And it's like, oh wow, like thanks.
Yeah, like, with our Patreon support, I basically break even, which is fine.
Which is something,
like, it's fine. Like, I'm not doing this to make money.
And every once in a while,
it's fun.
even if the fans are TME fans, or they were alphanumeric fans or whatever, every once in a while on our Lasercomb podcast, we're like, hey, the Patreons, give us something.
Yep.
Each of you pick something for us to randomly review.
We should go back to Patreon picks pretty soon. Probably after probably with episode 70.
70? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go back to Patreon picks. I'll reach out to the patrons too, because most of their picks that they sent me were from like last year. So
yeah,
their choices may have changed. in that time. Anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 126 of Too Much Energon, where we're going to be talking about the final issue of this god-awful piece of shit
Put the nail in the coffin, baby. For Christopher, yeah. It's except he's the one reaching out and nailing his own coffin. He's like, please kill me. Let it die.
I'm just like laying in a coffin with like a gun to my head. I'm like, well, I'm ready.
Pterosaurus is a zombie, huh? Fucking cool.
And then after that, another 2 weeks after that, we're going to be doing our 3rd anniversary episode of Too Much Energon, where we're going to be doing a full-born spoiler cast of Transformers Rise of the Beast, because it will be out on VOD by then.
Right.
Yeah. And,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I can't
what a
think
time
of
to be alive in TME.
I can't think of a better thing to dedicate an anniversary episode of the show to. So
right.
Yeah. So until then, I've been the Siege, one of your hosts,
and I'm Cal, your other host.
Thanks for listening. We will zombie terrorsaur you next week.
Catch you on the next data packet transwarp email, bro. No. See, we can't even think of cool. What is it? The unspace you later.
We'll energy monsters from unspace next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.